Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. It was, there we go, we're quicker than I thought. First, we'd like to let everyone know that the meeting will be recorded for minute-taking purposes. So the first item on the agenda tonight is applications for attendance via audio visually, of which we have none.
Well, there were 12 that made it through, and then I think there was 7.
We have none. Acknowledgement of Country Councillor Hartley, please.
Council would like to respectfully acknowledge the local Aboriginal people who are the traditional owners and custodians of the land on which this meeting takes place. Yes.
And the civic prayer, Councillor Dunn.
Almighty God, from whom comes every good and perfect gift, we give you thanks for the blessings you bestow upon us in this Shire. Grant to those who hold office in this council the spirit of justice and truth, of wisdom and charity, that mindful of our responsibility and of the needs of those we serve, we may promote the true welfare of your people, exercise wisely and faithfully the authority committed to us, and advance the common good through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you, councillors. May be seated. So we have no apology, but we do have an application for a leave of absence from Councillor Barry. Someone want to move that way? Councillor Mahajan, seconded Councillor McNeil. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Item 5 is the confirmation of minutes from the ordinary council meeting held 28th January. Someone want to move that way? Councillor Scholes, seconded by Councillor Morris. No discussion? No questions? There's no discussion. I'll put that. All those in favour, raise their hand. Declare that unanimous and carried. Thank you. Disclosures of any pecuniary or non-pecuniary interests. I'll start on my left with Councillor Douglas.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Item 10.1.1, the draft development control plan. I have a non-pecuniary insignificant declaration, and that's because funding was donated for the Christmas appeal that I run as a volunteer. Then item 10.1.2, the development application number 2024-036, a non-pecuniary insignificant because of a funding donation for the Christmas appeal that I run as a volunteer.
Thank you, Councillor Hartley.
Yep. 10.1.1 draft development control plan. I've got a insignificant non-pecuniary interest. I've got a rental property over on the lower end of Acacia Drive, and same on 10.1.2 development application 2024-36. Same reason, yes, probably lower end of Acacia.
Thanks, Councillor Hartley. Councillor Mahajan.
Yeah. Mr. Mayor, I have item number 10.1.4, monthly report to Council Environment and Regulatory Service. Page number 322, one of the property listed in this report, I and my wife own this plot.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Marshall.
10.1.1 draft development plan. So friends and work people down there. 10.1.2 2024-36 the subdivision development application. Same thing, friends and work for people down there. And 17.3 2024-2025 0624 heavy patching Long Valley Way.
Thanks, Councillor Marshall. Councillor Morris.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Item 10.2.3, awarding of grants and contributions policy. Radio Hunter Valley approach council each year for funding for our upcoming Christmas spectacular.
Thank you. Councillor.
That was a pecuniary insignificant.
Yes.
Sorry.
Councillor Boat.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm declaring item 10.4.1 in community and economy, Global Mouse Racer sponsorship as a non-pecuniary significant interest as a member of the Waddle.
Thank you. Councillor McNeil.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to declare a non-pecuniary significant interest in 10.1.1 and 10.1.2. That being the draft DCP for Ironbark Ridge, and DA 2024-6. I have a very close family friend who lives the eastern end of Ironbark Road, who is impacted by the development application, and he's firmly opposed to.
Thanks, Councillor Scholes.
Yeah, for something totally different. Item 10.1.1, draft development control plan. I have an insignificant non-pecuniary interest. The proponent is a friend of mine, and we're long-term workmates. Same for 10.1.2, DA 2024-036. Again, a insignificant non-pecuniary, same reason. Some of the proponents are close friends, and one is a long-term workmate.
Thanks, Councillor Scholes. Councillor Dunn.
Item 10.1.1, draft development control plan, Ironbark Ridge extension. I have a non-pecuniary insignificant interest, as I know people who live in that area. Item 10.1.2, DA application 2024-0364 lot subdivision. I have a non-pecuniary insignificant interest, again, as I know people who live there. Thank you.
Councillor Wood.
No.
Not surprisingly, I have a non-pecuniary insignificant interest in 10.11 and 10.12, because I'm also aware of some of the objectors and people who live in the area, but it is insignificant. Okay. Through that, there's no mayoral minute, and we'll move now into public participation. So I will ask any councillors in relation to 10.1.1 or 10.1.2 to leave the room, please, before we start public participation.
Could you explain to the gallery why, well, they're an interest, but why some have to leave, want to leave something?
Or you have to leave.
Why we pursue leaving something?
It was significant.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. The councillors obviously have declared an interest. Interest for them is, well, it's non-pecuniary, so it's not monetary related. They don't benefit financially. They do acknowledge that they have close enough friendships with those people that might be perceived by the public to not be able to vote fairly in relation to these applications. So we'll move into public participation. Have we got Mr. Fernan ready online?
Yes, I'm here.
Mr. Fernan, you requested to speak to the first two items, 10.1.1 and 10.1.2. You have 2 minutes for each. Happy to roll just a lot of them in together if you want to deal with. You want to deal with each item separately, or do you want to deal with?
Happy. Yeah, I'm happy to roll them together. That is fine.
Okay, well, in that case, Mr. Fernan, you'll get 4 minutes total. So we won't. I'll let you know. And we have got some other speakers tonight, so we will be strict on time. But you'll get 2 minutes to talk to each, and then with half a minute to go, I'll tell you got 30 seconds to go and wind up. But don't go after that, because we'll hang around, because we want councillors may have some questions to ask you.
Understood.
Yeah, and can you talk quite loudly, please?
Sure. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can, yes.
Yeah, good. Fantastic. Right to go?
Yep, when you're ready.
Fantastic. Well, I'd firstly like to just acknowledge and thank the council staff, the many people that made even just bringing this DA to council possible. This really started as an idea. We've been developers, we're property owners, we've got a lot of business in Muswellbrook currently, and really what this was about is identifying the number of fly-in, fly-out workers coming to Muswellbrook. The fact that the population of Muswellbrook only increased by 352 in the last census period, but with Muswellbrook Council really taking the brunt of all these people that are flying in, flying out, and that they weren't spending their disposable income, they weren't living in the local area, and they weren't, in many instances, adding benefit to the local community. So what started as an idea 2 years ago from a number of people to today, where we've created a Move to Muswellbrook campaign. It's really this, and in terms of the development, this is really about working with, and we're proud to say that we've signed on many of the mines in this to encourage their workers to move to Muswellbrook, to bring their families to live in the area, to send their kids to the local schools, and to build the community. So we've created this Move to Muswellbrook campaign. That website is live now, but we've still got to update that with new information as it comes in. But it's really around three things. It's about live, work, and own. Live in really showcasing. We've applied a destination marketing campaign to this. So live showcasing Muswellbrook, the great schools, the cafes, the local businesses, and really showcasing and trying to get those people living in Western Sydney and other areas, Newcastle, to come and move to Muswellbrook and the great lifestyle they can have. In terms of work, putting together and partnering with the mines and others in terms of the jobs that are available in the area, so having those job vacancies available. And then own. We'll be offering 100% financing through their employers for encouraging people to move to Muswellbrook, as well as salary packaging so that they can it can be tax deductible for their purchase. So there's been certainly a lot of work, and we've very much appreciated and we've taken on board a lot of the feedback, the community feedback, a lot of the submissions, and we've worked a lot with the planners to mitigate any potential impact on the adjoining properties. But really, this is about looking at Muswellbrook as an area, how we're going to build the town, how we're going to build the community, and creating a legacy for the area. And that's what this development has been particularly about, creating amenity through walking trails. We took on board the fact that there was not enough childcare. We've put childcare into the development. We've got a proposed cafe precinct there, significant walking trails, bike trails to make it a highly livable location. But at the end of the day, what we're most passionate about is trying to build the town and creating a legacy. So I very much thank you for the opportunity for talking to you all today, and thank you for considering this application.
Thank you. You're close to time. Well done. You're close to your 4 minutes. Is there any councillors have any questions for Mr. Fern? Any questions? We have one from Councillor Ward.
Yeah. Children's Centre.
Yeah.
Roads. Dan.
Thank you very much, Councillor Ward. Mr. Fernan, Councillor Ward is referring to the location of the Children's Centre, where Councillor Ward feels it is at the moment too proximate to the dam.
Yes, the dam is on the other side to the main road, so there will be an extension of the main road through, like all childcare centres, and quite separated. The dam in itself will be fenced. It's not going to be open for children to be able to access that, but having that main road across really separates those two locations. So we've taken that advice on board from our consultants in terms of locating things to be most accessible. We thought having the childcare centre on that main road with parking, but also overlooking the open space that we've got at the back was best able to address those amenity concerns.
Okay. Any other councillors?
Roads.
Thank you very much, Councillor Ward. Mr. Fernan, Councillor Ward is referring to the footpaths, and that Councillor Ward is concerned that there is a lack of footpath detail on the plans or the drawings.
We've detailed extensive cycle and footpaths in the plans on the concept master plan. Certainly on the DA drawings that wouldn't be shown and wouldn't be detailed, but on the concept master plan and on the DCP, that is certainly shown. The idea was to try and create a walking trail and connectivity throughout not only the development, but really extending all the way through that open space down Bimbadeen Drive, as well as incorporating the water tower that's in Muswellbrook and is a feature of Muswellbrook. We all look up at it, and being able to utilise that open space from I know a lot of people walk their dogs through there around the water tower. So creating those loops that we can really access that. So I would just refer, and I'm happy to take on notice anything further, but I would refer to the concept master plan itself in the DCP.
Thanks, Mr. Fernan. Councillor Dunn, a question as well.
Good evening, Mr. Fernan, Councillor Louise Dunn. This is a comment rather than a question. I'm just quite concerned about how tightly packed in those duplexes are.
Yes. So I think as a starting point on this, what we tried to create was diversity of housing. Diversity of housing we've identified in the Judith Stubbs report that's been prepared is that Muswellbrook doesn't have great diversity of housing. You've got very limited apartment stock in the LGA. And what we were trying to create is that three types of housing. So the 2-bedroom dwellings was a cost-effective price point that mine workers could purchase. They might still have a secondary dwelling somewhere else, but they can buy it. They can live in it while they're here. We can't force people to live here, but what we're trying to do is incentivize them to do that. So that's more like a lower price point. I don't think people want to come to live in Muswellbrook to live in apartments. So it's trying to get them to come. It's a cheaper price point, but still good quality amenity, backyards, and that's what that part is. We've also got the 650, 700 square metre lots, 4-bedroom, 2-bath houses on that. So that's pulling the mums and dads and families into those housing, and that's our key groups that we're targeting there. And then lastly on the plan, you'll see on particularly our concept master plan, a number of large 4,000 plus square metre lots. And really on that, we're targeting a higher price point, 1.2 million, targeting those mine managers, people on $200,000 a year. Ironbark Road already has many houses on it which are selling above $1.2 million. So it also creates a buffer of what's already there and creates that buffer land to that smaller dwelling housing, which you're referring to, but also the diversity of housing as well.
Thanks.
Councillor Dunn.
I think Mr. Fernan's dropped out, Mr. Mayor.
It's he. There we go.
Here he goes.
My apologies.
Yeah, you're all right.
That's right. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other councillors got any questions?
Yeah, I've got a question.
Councillor Hartley.
Just after a comment, Mr. Fernan. I've got a bit of a concern that the link with Bimbadeen onto Ironbark is going to create an unofficial bypass through the town. Have you got any plans to help mitigate that or to control maybe some of the speed that may cause with the traffic, increased traffic through there?
Yeah, and thank you for bringing that up. That was our major problem with this, and we would have thought that we'd be able to get it to last year's council meeting if it wasn't for the significant consultation we had with Transport for New South Wales on that issue. For a background, people may be aware that a previous developer was supposed to put in an intersection on the corner of Bimbadeen Drive on the highway, but that is now they haven't done that, and that hasn't been done because they haven't hit that many stages. So that's sort of somewhat fallen upon us. And we have done a significant safety audit on that. And a part of the conditions of consent, which I've seen, the draft conditions of consent, have us updating that intersection, not with traffic lights, but with there is a series of works that need to occur by us to improve traffic coming in and out of that off the highway.
Thank you, Mr. Fernan. Any further questions from councillors? I have a couple myself. Mr. Fernan, at the moment, you mentioned the childcare centre, but we're not dealing with that at the moment. That's not in this application tonight, is it?
Just that it's been in the DCP, that was included in the DCP, so it's relevant in that. It is in stage 1, but So the land is subdivided for the childcare centre, but I know my limitations. I haven't had anything to do with childcare in the past, and so we would look to partner with a childcare operator to develop and deliver that land. But the subdivision for that land is in the proposal tonight.
Okay, I have another question. Initially you raised about a fly-in, fly-out workforce and the struggle at the moment, the struggle for rent. So the struggle for somewhere for those people to stay. I understand this application is very top heavy in dual occupancy, so duplex houses, which certainly I understand would attract, someone who was driving in, driving out, or an investor for someone for mine workers to be able to drive in, drive out, fly in, fly out, I think was the term you used. Is it your view, Mr. Fernan, though, that would be beneficial for the town? Because the reason I asked that question, my view is that in fact that's something that this council is trying to move away from. And I'm saying move away from not letting anyone stay in town. I'm saying we're trying to encourage people to live in town, reside in town, and of course, be involved in charity groups and sporting groups and all the other stuff we see families doing. My concern is, particularly when this application is so top heavy in dual occupancy, so many of them in such a small area, 40 odd, I believe, in that area, we would in fact, my view is we would be encouraging the opposite effect, where we would just continue to inflate what we say the problem we already have. Have you got a view on that?
Yeah, most certainly. I take that. I don't agree with that view, but I can understand it, and I appreciate the question, because if it doesn't get asked, then I can't address it, and people might else be thinking about that. So I think for us, there's going to be a fly-in, fly-out workforce, regardless of what I do or what any of us can do here. And for us, it's about building legacy on the town and increasing construction, increasing jobs. It's better for us that a lot of the hotels, as you're probably aware, are poor quality hotels, and I won't name names, but it's better for us to try and get these guys to buy housing, and we're pitching this as a sale product to the mines. They can buy there and live here in Muswellbrook as a transition then to buy another house. This happens because of the topography of the land. We had to identify where the stages needed to be. My preference was to have more housing, 4-bedroom type product in the first stage, but we had to do that road extension, and we've got significant upgrades to the infrastructure for stage 1 that need to be covered. So the road needed to go through there, and that was the logical place and the best place to ensure buffer land from the existing Ironbark Road development. So that was, when we were discussing with council, that was the best spot for that to be, and to create that buffer from the duplexes. Then we've got the houses, and then we've got the larger lots. So that happened to be in that. But my view, and I've expressed this to council, is that we would probably be commencing on stage 2 before we've completed stage 1, in that we would look to get those houses built, and as they're sold, be building them quite quickly. You've also got, as you're aware, a number of groups groups like Santos, OX2, not only the mines, a lot of the renewables. So having housing that where potentially that is available housing stock. I mean, Muswellbrook Council is one of the lowest vacancy rates in New South Wales. So when there's more housing stock and rentals, these companies are not coming in, even the bypass, are not coming in to take up all the rentals and pushing out the locals. So by having more housing stock available for rent, it means that local people can stay and live in the area, and that there's permanent housing, that when these projects do move on, that it's there. I mean, we can have a discussion about whether a camp should be applicable, but my view is a camp should not be looked at, and we should be building permanent housing, and that's what we're proposing: permanent housing that delivers a legacy for the town, that after some of these projects and groups may come in and rent them, that then they can go to other housing and they're there for rentals. Whether investors buy them or not, it certainly will be pitching them to the mines so that they can buy them and live in there, even though that as it may be a secondary dwelling.
No worries. Thanks, Mr. Furman. Thank you. You're welcome to obviously stay online now. We'll get some more speakers and then we'll move into our business. So we'll move through now to Mrs. Julia King. Just at the, if you wish. So Bill, you've got 2 minutes to address, and then when you're finished, I'll tell you when there's 30 seconds to go. And when you're finished, if you can just stay there in case councillors have any questions for you. Thanks, Mr. King.
So I live in Acacia Drive, and we were given information about this development at Christmas time. Anyone I spoke to simply put that in the bin because they weren't focused on what was happening. But when I started to point out some of the realities of this for the local community, they were quite concerned. And the biggest concern is the roadworks and using local streets as part of this development. I went looking at developments in Lochinvar, Thornton, Maitland, and you can't stop the housing developments, but they should be done. They were discrete units to the town. They didn't require the use of any roadworks through the town, which might indicate that they were going to widen some of the roads that already exist here, which would upset a lot of people. 2 doors down from me, there's 2 adults plus 2 kids, and between them they've got 5 cars. And I think you can expect that if this has got 78 houses, double the number of cars, quadruple the number of cars, and the roads just aren't adequate.
30 seconds, Mrs. King.
Oh,
hey, you're okay, up to 30 seconds.
Aren't adequate. Coming from Sydney, I've seen roadworks last for 30 years as they've tried to deal with the volume of transport. The other thing is there's no school allowance for that number of people, and there should be allowance for a small supermarket and so on, which you can see in some of the Maitland housing developments.
Thank you, Mrs. King. If you can just stay there.
Right.
Any questions from councillors? Any questions at all? What street, Mrs. King, did you say you lived in? Acacia.
Acacia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any questions? Any? No, thank you, Mrs. King. Thanks very much. Mr. Pollard will be next. Same deal, 2 minutes, and I'll let you know when you're 30 seconds from the end.
Thanks, Matt. Councillors, I think we can all agree that there is a housing crisis in Australia, and particularly in Muswellbrook as well. My objection to the application, I live on 9 Park Road, last year stated that there's over 40 blocks still for sale in Muswellbrook that haven't been built on. And I believe that's still the case at the moment. As I said, I'm not objecting to more houses in Muswellbrook, but the development application, the land size and the proposed housing type is not consistent with the theme of the surrounding estate, in particular Ironbark Estate, in which I live in, and a number of the people that are here tonight live in. The housing that was spoken to by the developer would seem to be of temporary accommodation, so bringing people in as a fly in, fly out. So it didn't seem to be actually attracting people to live in Muswellbrook and stay in Muswellbrook. It seemed to be, townhouses, complexes, short-term accommodation for bypasses or for exploration, etc. So it didn't seem like it was in good faith and theme with bringing people into town. So I guess from my point of view, I'm seeking larger parcels of land in that development application. I'm all for more housing. I don't think it's in the theme of the neighbouring estate. I think there's more appropriate places to put high density living in Muswellbrook, and one of them would be on the eastern side of town as you come in from Newcastle. There's a heap of land through there that's ready for development, etc. Perfect place for high density living. So what I'd be seeking is house size blocks or acreage blocks in that development application. My other final concern is around traffic concerns, and previous speaker spoke about what roads that are wide enough for that traffic.
30 seconds, Mr. Wong.
Thank you. My concerns are that traffic is going to come down Ironbark Road, which would really change the conditions of that area as well. So my suggestion would be, and I know there are some other avenues into the development application on the other side, but there still needs to be some work from access on that side of the road as well.
Thank you, Mr. Pollard. You can just stay there with some questions. Councillor Dunn?
I read in a few of the submissions that people were given the assurance that these blocks would be larger blocks and that there would always be a buffer zone between them and Mount Arthur. Were you one of those people, or do you know if there is any written evidence of that?
Of the block size?
Of the guarantee that the block sizes would remain the same?
Just to elaborate, if I can, Councillor Dunn, in some of the submissions, and of course, names get redacted for councillors as well. So we've read all the submissions, but we don't know who put what submission in. In the submissions, I think this is what, correct me if I'm wrong, but what Councillor Dunn was talking about, a number of the submissions had said, listen, we were given a guarantee when we bought these larger blocks that we wouldn't have all these high density housing right behind us. We were given a guarantee that further development of that land, being the same applicant, further development of that land, that would be larger blocks. So effectively, we wouldn't be built out. In behind us by this higher density housing. So you weren't. That was in your submission. Okay. So.
I personally didn't receive that. There was talk about continuing the theme of the estate as it extended, and so I purchased in stage 2, and that's certainly been the stage for Ironbark as it's continued developing right before stage 5 or 6. So the theme of the estate has continued. I never received that in writing, but that was always seemed to be the theme from the original developer.
Thank you. You do.
Thanks. Thanks, we can't take any questions. But I do understand your submissions. There was certainly some guarantees. Any further questions for Mr. Pollard? No? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you very much. We will need to get our councillors back in for the next item. Gonna wait for Councillor Sculls sits down, gets comfortable. Yeah, we go again. Item 9 is any business arising from the previous meetings. Any 9.1 yet? Sorry, business arising. Response to questions from the January ordinary council meeting. I understand a couple of councillors just returned some of those questions. Any? First of all, I have someone. We're only noting the information. Someone to move that. Councillor Marshall, Councillor Douglas, second it. Any discussion? Councillors are happy with those responses?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I just add appreciation for the responses and their commitment to endeavour to extend the period of service for the aqua aerobics.
Thanks, Councillor McNeil. Any further questions before I put that? Just for noting, so I put that, it's been moved and seconded. I put that, all those in favour, raise their hand. Aye. Any against? I declare that unanimous and carried. We'll now move into our business. So 10.1. We'll now ask those councillors to leave again. So we have a resolution in front of us. The resolution reads, Council resolves to adopt the Development Control Plan, Ironbark Ridge Extension, provided in Attachment A in accordance with Section 14 of the Environmental Planning and Assessment Regulation 2021. Someone want to move that way? Councillor Dunn, Councillor Morris. Any discussion? Councillor Morris.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think for this particular issue here, it's quite a complex issue, and I think it has a lot of potential impacts. I move that we defer the decision to a later date to gather additional information to make a more informed decision.
Looks, yes. Any further discussion, Councillor Dunn? We're dealing at the moment with adopting the motion that was put in the business paper.
I'm just really concerned about the density and also the fact that people were under the impression that the size blocks would remain that size when they purchased.
Okay. Any further questions? Councillor Bailey.
I think that it's great that a lot of people have put in submissions, and I think there's a lot there to take in. And just like to say that, yeah, I definitely think that there's a lot more to go through and some very significant issues that have been raised, both in the submissions and also tonight.
I do want to, at this stage in the debate, I do want to foreshadow, we'll have to deal with this motion first, but I do want to foreshadow a motion I plan to put if this motion gets defeated, and that is for a deferral. But any further discussion on the motion? So we're dealing currently with the motion to adopt the DCP for Ironbark Ridge Extension. Any further questions? Any further clarification? I put that then. Anyway, all in favour? Any against? Declare that motion fail. That motion falls. I'll now put my foreshadowed motion. Foreshadowed motion reads that to defer a decision related to the adoption of the draft development control plan to allow for further consideration of any necessary changes related to aspects of the plan relating to DA 2024-36. You'll see it on the, Councillor Michelle's put that up there on the board. I've moved that. Is there someone to second that motion? Councillor Douglas. Any discussion? Councillor Douglas? Any other discussion? So we're now dealing with the deferral decision. Any further discussion? I do want to make some comment myself. I too have concerns. I have concerns about guarantees that may or may not have been given. I have a number of concerns about traffic, parking, visual amenity, and a number of other things, and most of the stuff that was raised tonight. But certainly we'll see what happens further down the track there. If there is no further discussion, I'll put the motion. So that this is to, I'll read the motion out once again. This is to defer a decision related to the adoption of the draft development control plan to allow for the further consideration of any necessary changes related to aspects of the plan relating to DA 2024-36. There's no further discussion. I'll put that. All those in favour? Any against? Declare that unanimous and carried. We'll now move on to the development application itself. Of course, it might prove difficult now that that decision has been made. So I do plan to put a motion to councillors. So I will put the motion to councillors that, so this is, and Michelle will have it on the board, that development application 2024-36. So defer the determination of DA 2024-36 to enable the applicant to give further consideration to the density of the multi-dwelling housing development proposed and the opportunity for amendment to the proposal that 1. Reduces the overall number of units proposed. 2. Increase the diversity of housing proposed within the multi-dwelling housing estate, including by exploring the incorporation of detached dwellings in place of a number of semi-detached dual occupancies, exploring the provision of housing units or dwellings which incorporate additional visually distinctive external design components to increase diversity of building appearance, and exploring the inclusion of housing options with differing rates of bedrooms/occupation than the proposal for all 76 as 2-bedroom residences. In context with the changes, and 3, in context with the changes to the composition of housing, give further consideration to off-street parking requirements of Muswellbrook Development Control Plan, and in doing so, provide off-street parking at a rate consistent with minimum Development Control Plan requirements. That's the motion I've moved. Have I a seconder? Councillor Hartley. Any discussion? Councillor Mahajan.
The load size must be minimum more than 800. Load size, because they mentioned that they having a 23 load, like less than 300 square meter.
Mr Mayor and councillors, the land is zoned R1. The minimum lot size is 600 square metres under the LEP. We can't amend that LEP without support of the state government, and they won't support in the minimum lot size from 600 square metres.
In saying that, Councillor Mahajan, the motion does pick up indeed the density issues of those housing. So I think it might pick up your point anyway, but I certainly do agree with it. Any further discussion?
If I could suggest to me, so we'll deal with the initial motion. You'll first foreshadowing your motion if that fails.
It's already failed.
You've already failed.
No, I didn't. No, I just put the motion. I didn't. I'll just put this motion. No, so we're not even dealing with the first motion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that motion's on the board. Councillor Douglas.
I think that this gives us the opportunity to meet with and as council and work with the developer to take into considerations the concerns of the community and come to some sort of resolution that's going to support the community as a whole.
Thanks, Councillor Douglas. Yes, I agree. This council certainly is very keen to develop and very keen to increase our permanent residents in town. But of course, we all want it to happen. We want it to happen in the right way. I'm not saying this is the wrong way, but certainly I'm also concerned about some of the aspects of this development. So the sooner we can get back with the developer and obviously air our issues, the better it will be. Any further discussion? If there is no further discussions, this is the motion on the board that I've read out. I'm putting this motion.
Do we have a movement second, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, we have it. I moved it, was mine, and Councillor Hartley was seconded.
Thank you. Very much.
So if that's the case, no further discussion, I'll put that. All those in favour? Any against? Declare that unanimous. Thank you, councillors. We'll get the other councillors back in and move on with the business. So the purpose of anyone who, for the purpose of the other, that both of those, the GCP and the application, both have been referred. So they'll come back to council to deal further with the development for all the issues that have been raised tonight.
Do you have an approximate timeline of that deferment?
That will depend on the developer. How quickly.
Will we be notified again?
Yes,
Yep.
yes, that's
Thank
the same process.
Thank you.
10.
So choose to stay, or you can go if you want to.
So.
Thank you.
Ten 10.1.3. So the adoption of Muswellbrook Shire local housing strategy. The resolution we have in front of us is that council adopts the Muswellbrook Shire local housing strategy in attachment B and authorises the general manager to forward the strategy to the Department of Planning, Housing and Infrastructure for endorsement. Have I someone want to move that way? Councillor McNeil, Councillor Scholes. Any discussion? Councillor McNeil.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, no, I think it's, as mentioned by yourself earlier today, there's not many more issues that are more important than our housing policy. And I guess we have more complex problems than most. And in relation to that, I think the report was very comprehensive in its depth and breadth. So congratulations to the staff.
I agree, Councillor McNeil. Councillor Scholes, Mr. Cook. Any further discussion? Any further questions? If there is no further discussion, I'll put that. All those in favour raise their hand. Any against? I declare that unanimous. 10.1.4. Oh, yeah. you. So 10.1.4 is the our monthly report to Council for Planning, Environment and Regulatory Services. So we have a report there. The information contained in the report be noted. Someone want to move that way? Councillor Morris, Councillor Marshall. Councillor Morris, speak to it? No? Councillor Marshall. Any discussion? If there is no discussion, I'll put that. All those in favour raise their hand. Any against? Declare that unanimous and carried. Thank you. Councillor Mahajan. (10.2) Corporate Services. So 10.2.1 Debt Recovery Policy for Adoption. So this is will be resolved on the motion that Council adopts the debt recovery policy. Someone want to move that way? Councillor Bailey, Councillor Dunn. Councillor Bailey, wish to speak to it? Councillor Dunn. Any further discussion? If there is none, I'll put that. All those in favour raise their hand. Any against? Declare that unanimous and carried. 10.2.2. So this is memorials, naming of council facilities and donations of park furniture and trees policy for adoption. So council adopts, the motion is council adopts the memorials, naming of council facilities and donations of park furniture and trees policy. Someone want to move that way? Councillor Marshall, Councillor Sculls. Councillor Marshall.
That one. Put together.
Thanks, Councillor Marshall. Councillor Sculls.
No.
Any further discussion? If there's not, I'll put that. 10.2.2. So put that motion. All those in favour raise their hand. Any against? Declare that unanimous and carried. 10.2.3, the awarding of grants and contributions policy, again for adoption. So council, So as I said, 10.2.3, awarding of grants and contributions policy. The motion before us is council adopts the awarding of grants and contributions policy. Someone want to move that way? Councillor Hartley, Councillor Sculls. Councillor Hartley, wish to speak? No. Councillor Sculls. Is there any discussion? If there's not, I'll put that. All those raise their hand. Any against? Declare that unanimous and carried. We'll get Councillor Morris back. So 10.2.4 local orders policy for adoption. This is the motion before us is council adopts the local orders policy. I've got someone want to move that way. Councillor McNeil, seconder. Councillor Marshall. Councillor McNeil. Councillor Marshall, you want to speak? Anyone wish to speak to that? I'll put that then. All those in favour raise their hand. I declare that unanimous and carried. Staff housing assistance policy for adoption. Council, so this is for another adoption. Council adopts the staff housing assistance policy. Have I got a councillor prepared to move that way? Councillor Sculls, Councillor Morris. Councillor Sculls.
Yes, I'll just comment. With regards to the quality of the report and the understanding of the different situations that could potentially arise, and but quite a good risk management process it's gone into. Hopefully everyone comes out of this in a way that suits both us, the council, and our future and current employees.
Thanks, Councillor Sculls. Anyone wish to speak to the motion? If there's not, I'll put that. All those in favour raise their hand. Any against? Declare that unanimous and carried. 10.2.6, so draft contributions to boundary fencing policy for public exhibition. So the resolution in front of us is that 1, council provides notice of intention to adopt the draft contributions to boundary fencing policy by placing it on public exhibition via council's website for a period of 28 days. Number 2 is as an interim arrangement until the adoption of the policy, council may at its discretion apply the draft policy to assist with its determination of any request for assistance. And 3, a further report be submitted to council for consideration of submissions received during the exhibition period. Have I someone want to move that way? Councillor Douglas. Someone want to second that motion? Councillor Hartley? Councillor Douglas.
Yeah, I think it's a good opportunity to put it out because it's been just under 12 years since the last policy was adopted. So I think it's a good opportunity for community.
Thanks. Councillor Hartley?
No.
Any further comment on that policy before we put it to? If there's not, I'll put that. All those in favour raise their hand. Any against? Declare that unanimous and carried. Thank you. Draft 1027, draft council expenses and facilities policy for public exhibition. The motion before us reads: 1, council provides notice of intention to adopt the draft councillors' expenses and facilities policy by placing it on public exhibition via council's website for a period of 28 days. And 2, a further report be submitted to council for consideration of submissions during the exhibition period. Someone want to move that way? Councillor McNeil, Councillor Morris. Councillor McNeil? No. Councillor Morris? No. I'll just raise an important section in there before I put it to vote. And it's section 9 in there. It speaks, I'm sure councillor read it, about cyber security, and it particularly deals with councillors with the care that we should take if we decide to send emails from our council email address to our private email addresses. Of course, it's really, really difficult sending, or not safe, as I understand, sending council emails across to a private email address, which obviously that's generally how they get in, and we need to be careful, of course, doing that because we don't know the standard of security that we have with who we're sending it to. So we just need to be aware of that section. I have a mover and a seconder. No further discussion. I'll put that. All those in favour raise their hand. Any against? I declare that unanimous and carried. Thank you, councillors. 10.2.8. Draft library membership policy and draft library collection management policy for public exhibition. The motion reads: 1, council endorses the draft library membership policy and draft library collection management policy for placement on public exhibition via council's website for a period of 28 days. And 2, a further report be submitted to council for consideration once the exhibition period has been completed. Someone want to move that way? Councillor Ward and Councillor Marshall. Councillor Ward. Councillor Marshall.
Again, I'd like to express my appreciation to council staff. Well done.
Thank you, Councillor Marshall. Any further discussion? If there's none, I'll put that motion. All those in favour? Anyone against? Declare that unanimous and carried. Thank you. 10.2.9, councillor request management procedure. So council, this is for noting. So councillor notes the councillor request management procedure. Have I got a councillor want to move that way? Councillor Scholes, Councillor Morris. Councillor Scholes?
No, not particularly. Just noting that this is an internal document for council, but it does give great guidance to us as councillors with regards to how we interact with council officers and keep that relationship professional and correct.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Scholes. I couldn't agree more. Councillor Morris? No. Any discussion? Any questions? If there's not, I'll put that. All those in favour raise their hand. Any against? Declare that unanimous and carried. Thank you. 10.2.10. Got the time, doesn't it? Policy is recommended for rescission. The motion in front of us reads that council resolves to rescind the following policies: 1, the community services policy; 2, development cost estimating policy; 3, economic diversification policy; 4, leased council property public liability cover required; 5, provision of information to and interaction between councillors and staff; and 6, risk management of council facilities. Have I someone want to move that way? Councillor Dunn, Councillor Hartley. Councillor Dunn. Councillor Hartley.
No.
Any further questions for any councillors? If there's not, I'll put that motion. All those in favour raise their hand. Any against? Declare that carried. Thank you. 10 to 11. 10 to 11. The local government, fix his numbering up this time. We're still here at 10 to 11. We're in Troy. The local government performance excellence program. That the motion just reads the information contained in the report be noted. I've got Councillor want to move that way. Councillor Marshall, Councillor Bailey seconded. Either councillor want to speak to that motion? They don't. Any other councillor? If that's the case, I'll put that. All those in favour? Any against? Unanimous and carried. Thank you. 10 to 12. Finance and Governance Committee terms of reference. So the motion in front of us reads Council 1 endorses the terms of reference for the Finance and Governance Committee. 2 delegates authority to the Finance and Governance Committee to A, place council policies on public exhibition, B, make decisions regarding the submission of applications for grant programs, and C, makes decisions on the awarding of community grant applications received by council. Councillor Scholes, have I got a seconder? Councillor Morris, Councillor Scholes.
No, Mr. Mayor, only comment is that with regards to the policy, that it's over half full committee of the councillors, current councillors, so it's a fairly effective representative committee of the council. So I think with the slightly higher powers, it will quicken up many processes with regards to this.
Yeah, I think it is. I think you're right, Councillor Scholes. Councillor Morris?
No.
Any councillors want to make further comment? If that's the case, I'll put that. All those in favour? Any against? Declare that unanimous and carried. Thank you. 10 to 13, State Significant Development Committee terms of reference. Motion reads that Council 1 endorses the terms of reference for State Significant Committee. 2 delegates authority to the State Significant Development Committee to A, authorise submissions and responses to the Department of Planning, Housing and Infrastructure and the Independent Planning Commission, IPC, and assess state significant development and prepare submissions and responses relating to state significant development in the Muswellbrook Shire. Have I got a councillor want to move that way? Councillor Bailey. Councillor Marshall. Councillor Bailey. Wish to speak to that? Councillor Marshall, do you wish to speak? No. Any further questions? Okay, if that's the case, I'll put that. All those in favour raise their hand. Any against? Declare that unanimous and carried. Thank you. 10 to 14, Infrastructure and Property Committee terms of reference. Again, the council endorses the terms of reference for the Infrastructure and Property Committee. Someone want to move that way? Councillor Dunn and Councillor Bailey. Councillor Dunn? Councillor Hartley?
Oh, no.
No. I would have said Bailey too. It was actually Councillor Hartley that seconded that, not Councillor Bailey. They look considerably different. So, is there any further questions? If there's no further questions, I'll put that. All those in favour? Declare that unanimous and carried. Thank you, and apologies, Councillor Bailey. December 24 quarterly budget review, 10 to 15. So council endorses the motion we have in front of us. Council endorses the proposed changes in December 2024 quarterly budget review. Someone want to move that way? Councillors Dunn and Scholes. Do either councillor want to comment? No. Any further comment? If there's not, I'll put that. All those in favour raise their hand. Any against? Again, declare that unanimous and carried. Thank you. 10 to 16, so the monthly financial report. Again, for noting, council notes the financial reports for the month ending 31 January 2025. Councillor Scholes has moved it. Councillor Bailey. Do either councillor want to speak to the motion? They don't. Anyone else want to speak to the motion? I'll put that then. All those in favour? Again, unanimous and carried. Thank you, councillors. 10 to 17, so draft community engagement and participation plan for endorsement. So again, council notes the investments held at, hang on. 10 to 17. Oh, is it? What's on here, am I? Okay. So sorry, just on investment. So council notes the investments 10-17. Council notes the investments held at 31 January 2025. Councillor Scholes, Councillor Mahajan, money men. Either council want to speak to that? Councillor Scholes.
Okay, but on the financial section, I'd like to thank our Chief Financial Officer with regards to the quality and the quantity and the breadth of information that's been providing for us, and the explanations at the last meeting with regards to where we stand with regards to our investments and what the future looks forward. And it's quite obvious there's quite a bit of planning going into how we manage this and how we go forward. And looks like we've got no particular issues with regards to our investments on the horizon.
Thanks, Councillor Scholes. Councillor Mahajan. Any further questions? Any comments? If that's the case, I'll put that. All those in favour raise their hand. Against, declare that unanimous and carried. Now, 10-18. Draft community engagement and participation plan for endorsement. So council, this one's to endorse it. So council resolves to endorse the communication, engagement and participation plan for final consideration by council. Someone want to move that way? Councillor Bailey has moved it. Councillor Marshall has seconded. Either councillor want to speak to that motion? Any other councillor want to speak to that motion? That's the case. I'll put that. All those in favour? Any against? Declare that unanimous and carried. 10.3 infrastructure and property. So 10.3.1 is a request for contribution to boundary fence adjacent to council operational land. So the motion reads that council approves making a contribution of $2,118.47, inclusive of GST, to the replacement of the boundary fence of the property adjoining council's operational land, being the drainage reserve lot DP 1284529, located at 155 Maitland Street. Have I got a mover? Councillor Douglas. Have I a seconder? Councillor Dunn. Councillor Douglas.
No, I just want to thank council for the time that they've taken in to assess this application.
Thank you, Councillor Dunn. Have a mover and a seconder. Any further comment? If there is no comment, I'll put that. All those in favour? Declare that unanimous and carried. Thank you, councillors, for your support. 10.3.2, Catchment Management Plan, Muswell Creek and Possum Gully. So, council, the motion before us reads, council adopts the Catchment Management Plan for Muswell Creek and Possum Gully, including its prioritised actions for remediation works, subject to future grant funding availability. And Councillor Scholes, before I even had to lift my hand. And Councillor Ward is not a surprise either. Councillor Scholes, you used to speak to it.
Again, I do apologise for staff members for congratulating them on the quality of their work on a constant basis. I'll have to try and sit. But again, as the Mayor has indicated, and Councillor Ward and I, this kind of stuff is the stuff we love and eat, breathe and chew up every day. It's a great report and it's a good way forward. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Councillor Scholes. Any further comment, Councillor Ward? Okay. Any further comment? Any other? Councillor McNeil.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's kind of related, but not related. But if you'll take the question, I'm just curious if there's been any further development on the early warning signs for Muswell Creek's flood warnings.
I can certainly answer that, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. Thanks very much, Councillor McNeil. In fact, yes, council's received grant funding to design and install a flood warning system for Muswell Creek, and it's actually located in Olympic Park. You might have noticed, and yes, exactly near the steps. So yes, it's been a successful project. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Any further questions, Councillor Ward?
Gables, bats.
Thanks very much, Councillor Ward.
I'll defer again to someone else about the bats.
Did you want to speak? I can speak with Gabions. Thanks very much, Councillor Ward. With regards to the Gabions, there will be a number of discrete projects, and Gabion Place will be part of that. As we discussed, it's about the hydrology of the creek and making sure we don't, by the projects we put in place, cause problems further upstream or downstream. But certainly that's a high priority. Thank you.
Mayor and councillors, with regards to that, we will obtain a special licence to allow us to do work in that locations. And we will also pick a time when we're less likely to disturb the bats, particularly when they don't have young bat, so that we disrupt them the least possible.
Thank you. Any?
If I may as well do, just add to Sharon's comment just for a moment. During the survey train that went over the creek as well, we also had representatives from state government agencies for the detection of those bats, and observed that the bats at the time were not affected by the drone flying over, which was a positive sign towards any minor or major works that we needed to do in the future.
Thank you. Any further questions?
Yep.
It's
been on Councillor McNeil's question with regards to the flood warning. Do we actually have proposed to actually have something further upstream at some stage, noting that the way the flooding happens in particularly Muswell Creek, what happens upstream of the Bell Street Beach, what happens downstream of the Bell Street Beach is quite different. And if we've got some form of early warning system out past the property where the round of the bypass is actually going to go over, because what we're after is an early warning. You don't want to be told when you're in flood. You want to be told there is a body of water coming, and by your algorithms from that work out rate of fill of the lower creek. So when we have issues, it would actually be good to have one upstream at some stage. I'll give you an idea. Is that the one on Goulburn is actually 2/3 of the way up the Sandy Hollow Bylong Road, or 1/3 of the way up, so right up there. The reason it's up there is 2 metres up there means 15 metres of Devon, and that's pretty important.
Thanks, Councillor Scholes. Thanks, Roger. In fact, the end point is a sensor you can see. We do have sensors going further upstream, and so that cumulative information presents itself at the signal box you can see.
Excuse me, I won't say enough. First question.
You've been up and down enough.
That information, is it actually going to be placed on the public?
I'll just take that on notice, please, to give you greater detail. But the process is that all the residents in that area that are impacted will receive a text message as well. There'll be an alarm as well. And I'm just not sure about how we provide it on our social media pages or council pages, but certainly the residents are informed personally. Yes.
Might I suggest talk to the state government with regards to they have just on the Hunter River, the Goulburn River, and most other streams with regards to flood warning, which you can actually jump on a side and track those. I've used them in the past because we mind the alluvial lands in Hunter Valley Ops, so we needed to know when the Goulburn River was going to come down to get equipment out. We needed 24 hours notice. So sometimes it's good to be able to actually look real time what's happening. You might not have to set it up yourselves. It's another complication for yourselves. The state government might just want to take your data and utilise it on the existing sites.
Thanks, Councillor Scott. My understanding is that that has been done with the state government, but I'll just have to check with the council officers. Yeah. Thanks very much.
No further questions. If there's not, I'll put that motion. All those in favour? Any against? Declare that unanimously carried. Thank you. Community and economy. So Wyvong Mouse Race's sponsorship. So the motion before us is that council approves sponsorship of $5,000 to the Wyvong Community Hall Committee towards the Wyvong Mouse Races to be held on 29 March 2025. Someone want to move that way? Councillor McNeil, Councillor Douglas. Any discussion, Councillor McNeil?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I just really support this recommendation. I was lucky enough to be at Sandy Hollow up after the Stro Day, and there was a couple of the all committee members out there and ex-committee members, and they're super excited about this. And yeah, I think it's a really good thing.
Thanks, Councillor. Councillor Douglas.
Yeah, I agree with Councillor McNeil, and I think it's a great opportunity. And I like the fact that we've got the opportunity now to bring it to our Shire, and that'll also bring in visitors into our community.
Absolutely. Thank you. Any further discussion? I'll put that. All those in favour? And against, declare that unanimous and carried. Thank you, Councillor, for your support. It is an indication of this council's view in regards to events and supporting events within our Shire and attracting people to the Shire. So thank you again for your support. Councillor Bailey, back. So 10.4.2 is the awarding of sponsorship Upper Hunter Veterans Golfers Association. The motion reads, Council approves cash sponsorship of $300 to Upper Hunter Veteran Golfers Association for the staging of the 2025 Veterans Week of Golf from 9 to 14 March 2025. Someone want to move that way? Councillor Dunn, Councillor Morris. Councillor Dunn, Councillor Morris. Any discussion? If there's not,
I was just going to say, adding to your point that you just made with regards to the mouse races. This is a rather big event in its own right.
It is a big event. Yep.
It's coming to the town.
Yep, it is. No further discussion? I'll put that. All those in favour? I declare that unanimous and carried. Thank you, Councillor, for your support. We'll now move into minutes of committee meetings. We have nil. Notices of motion, we have nil. Item 12. 13, councillors' reports. Councillor Douglas. Councillor Hartley.
Got to talk about the Girls' Day Out. Yeah, so on Saturday, I was lucky enough to attend the Girls' Day Out in Muswellbrook here. It's an event targeted at the young girls in our town to give them an opportunity to try some sports that they may normally not consider. I think there was rugby league, rugby union, soccer, cheer, AFL. I think I haven't missed any. It was a really, really, really well-supported event. There was about 110 girls, they tell me, ranging from 6 through to 16. And it was just great to see them all having so much fun, smiling and trialling things that they normally wouldn't have. And I've heard back from some of the clubs that they've actually picked up some girls from the event registered in their local sporting groups. So
fantastic.
Very good event.
Thanks, Councillor. Councillor Mahajan. Councillor Marshall.
More so than the men's breakfast. We had Paddy from Paddy Sheen from Goulmont, who had just about everything to do with winks, led around everywhere. If you've watched the movie, as a whole right through, and file manager. He doesn't know what he does. And yeah, so he figures in the movie a great deal apparently, and he also gives us a bit of a light on Winks that when she had her first foal, she nearly passed away. She's very give a very good talk.
Thanks, Councillor. Councillor Morris. Councillor Bailey. Councillor McNeil.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll just add to the report there from Councillor Marshall. And we have absolute greatness in our Shire. I'm sure you know, and Shire would know. But Winks, it resides at Coolmore, and actually won the award of the greatest racehorse in the world. 33. Is it 33 consecutive wins? The most in the world ever.
6 or 7.
And as Councillor Marshall said, this Paddy gave the most heartfelt story of her life. He actually folded down. He also folded down to Billy and Colt. Yeah, they had to rush to Scone Hospital, the Scone Vet Hospital, to save her life. Winks, it just brought home to me the expertise that we have in that field and the sort of quality of studs that we have as well. And also the guy who organised his his speech. Brian Collard, one of our previous citizens of the year, did a tremendous job to get him. I think he's trying to get him for about 12 months.
That's excellent, isn't it? Councillor Sculls, Councillor Dunn, Councillor Ward. I have a lot to report, but I won't hold up. Since the last meeting, we visited, Council will be aware, we visited Canberra in regard to delegation with the HJO. The General Manager and myself have also been to another HJO meeting since then, and we'll certainly do a further report, but the success of that trip will be determined in dollars, I guess, and whether we get those dollars or we don't get those dollars, and I might just pull up there because we've been recorded on whether we get them or we don't. So, but certainly, it is an important issue for this council. When I talk about the issue of jobs and the issue of where we're headed in a few years' time. So certainly is a key focus of mine and council, and I appreciate all the support I've had from councillors in regards to that. So thank you. We'll move on now. There are no written questions. Questions for next meeting. Councillor Douglas, Councillor Hartley.
Yeah, I've just got one question. It's been raised a few times, but can we investigate whether it's possible or even feasible to make the gym at the Aquatic Centre a 24-hour facility? Been a lot of commentary that I've received in regard to that.
Yep, we'll just take it on notice. Thanks, yep. Councillor Hartley, Councillor Mahajan, Councillor Marshall, Councillor Morris, Councillor Bailey, Councillor McNeil, Councillor Scholes, Councillor Dunn.
I was asked by a member of the community about the rum distillery, and if it is true that there'll be an unpleasant smell during production time.
I can answer that best I can, with it for next meeting, but I'll answer it best I can. I'm not sure how much odour, but it all has to be within a permit, so it'll all be an application, has to comply within an application, but we can get you a much more detailed application than that. I understand at the moment that doesn't need to be an application just to distill at the moment. It's all they're doing to making alcohol, because there already is an application there. It actually was a still with the previous owner, and of course that application stands. I do understand that they have lots of other ideas on what they want to do up there. Those ideas will all obviously be on the back of development applications that will come before council and be assessed by councillors. So certainly, if the question, if it eases the community's mind, is that not unlike anything we do at council, they will get a say in every stage. Whenever there's a development application, they will be entitled to come and have their say, as everyone else is in each one of those applications.
If I may, just following on from that, is it true that the waste product is actually going to be being organised to be transported to Scone for processing?
No, I don't think anything's been organised at the moment. There is some discussions about the waste product, and all I understand at the moment is that they have some plans that there'll be very little waste product coming out of the place. I understand a large percentage of the waste product from distilling now is reusable, so there'll be little waste product. Yeah.
Careful that not jumping ahead of it.
Yes, we will.
There's going to be DNA.
There'll be applications for all that. Okay, so now item 16 on our agenda is adjournment into closed council. So someone want to move that way? Councillor Marshall, Councillor Douglas. I'll put that. All those in favour to move into closed council. Thank you. Unanimously carried. Had to uncurve that like.
It's the family, the young boy.
We're now recording. We're recording, Michelle. Thank you. Item 17, closed council. So council resolved, supported unanimously, one, subject to paragraph 3 of the resolution, accept the below firms to be appointed as panel source suppliers for legal services, panel contract 2024-2025 0629 for the period 11 March 25 to 10 March 28. 1, M.R. Anderson and J.S. Gill and J. Gray and L. Cho Clark Cam. 2, G.N. Beattie and J.N. Eade and L.J. Motta and S.H. Patterson and C. Rose Wilshire, Webb, Staunton, Beatty Lawyers. 3, Hunter Council Legal Services Limited, Local Government Legal. 4, JB Adams and DR Baird and G Bonura, G Butterfield, PJ Crittenden, JH Marsden, T Reeve, AJ Seaton, JR Thornton, N Youssef, Marsden's Legal. 5, GT Canellan and others, TA Moray and Agnew, Redenbach Group Proprietary Limited, Redenbach Legal. 7, Shaw Reynolds Lawyers Proprietary Limited. And 8, RM Hassel, AS White and others, Spark Hillmore Lawyers. And 2, delegates to the General Manager authority to accept those tenders without contract departures and enter into contracts for legal services panel contract 2024-2025 0629. Delegates to the General Manager authority to negotiate with those tenderers requesting contract departures and subject to satisfactory contract negotiations, enter into contracts for legal services panel contract 2024-2025 0629. That motion was carried. 17.2, so the tender investigation and design by Long Valley Way. Council resolves that to 1, accept the tender submitted by MU Group Consulting Proprietary Limited for contract 2024-2025 0628, investigation of design for Long Valley Way, CH 32.4 and CH 34.4 for the lump sum of $107,893.20 exclusive of GST. 2, delegates to the General Manager authority to engage a consultant for geotechnical investigations separate to this contract or determined to include geotechnical investigations as a provisional item under this contract based on a commercial assessment. And 3, delegates to the General Manager authority to enter into a contract for the investigation and design of Long Valley Way, CH 32.4 to CH 34.4. That motion was carried. 17.3, tender 2024-2025 0624, granular heavy patching at various locations. Council has adopted 1, accepts the tender submitted by Stable Corp Proprietary Limited for standing offer deed 2024-2025 0624, granular heavy patching at various locations for the duration of 18 months. And 2, delegates to the General Manager authority to enter into a contract for granular heavy patching at various locations. That motion was also passed, supported. 17.4, refinancing loans, infrastructure and aquatic centre. So council delegates to the General Manager authority to 1, negotiate the lowest fixed interest rate with one of the 4 major banks for an amount of Australian dollars 995,804 for loan 1. The start date of the loan will be on 24th of March 2025 in accordance with terms offered by a selected bank. And 2, execute Loan 1 agreement to refinance bridge replacement over Muswell Creek at Olympic Park Precinct with a financial institution that provides the lowest borrowing cost to council. 3, negotiate the lowest fixed interest rate with one of the 4 major banks for an amount of $1,362,214 for loan 2. The start date of the loan will be 22 April 2024 in accordance with the terms offered by the selected bank. And 4, execute Loan 2 agreement to refinance the Muswellbrook Aquatic Centre with the financial institution provides the lowest borrowing cost to council. That motion was also supported. 17.5, the Maitland Road Memorial request. Council resolved to Council approves the request as proposed in the report and supports the establishment of a respectful and sensitive memorial that is absent of seating. That motion was also supported. That is our council meeting for tonight. Thank you, councillors. It was quite a good meeting, and I'll now close at 7:41. Thank you very much.